Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to dive into a topic that's on most of our minds as we approach the end of Rebellion cycle and the issuance of those packs comes to a close. People are wondering, are those cards going to hold value? Are those packs going to drop off? Are they going to be worthless in the near future? Spoiler alert, I believe that they will hold their value. If that sounds interesting, stick around and stay tuned. Let's get into it. So let's break this down into 5 key reasons why I think Rebellion cards have a potential for holding their value. I think at least holding their value, or maybe holding their value better than other assets, if we want to look at that in a slightly different way. The first is scarcity. We know that Rebellion hasn't moved as many units as we had wanted, or maybe as we initially had hoped. I remember hearing numbers like 4 million packs might move. We're nowhere near there. In fact, we have 2.5 million packs left, so theoretically we could move 4 million, but we're not likely to sell every single remaining pack, which means that we're probably going to land somewhere closer to 1.5 in the end. And in fact, what we've moved so far is visible on Splinter cards. So if we pop over there, we can see the Splinter cards. We have 2.5 million left to be purchased or to be burnt, we'll see. 77,000 circulating, 864,000 open, and 650,000 in the DAO. If you put that all together, we're getting roughly a 1.5 million that's currently owned, opened, or held in the DAO, which has to be presumed to at one point in the future be open, probably, right? And so some of these are going to sell, but not many. There's too many promo cards, there's too many other things happening right now, and crypto is not where we want it. And therefore, I think we probably close in that 1.5 to 2 million range. And with that said, it's a relatively scarce deck. We can compare it to Chaos Legion, where there's 10 million open and 2 million circulating, which is, like, call it 8x on what the Rebellion is probably going to end up being, maybe at minimum 6x of what the Rebellion is going to be, assuming we have a crazy hard push with Rebellion. Rift Watcher is very similar, not similar to Chaos, but similar to Rebellion. 120,000 circulating, 960,000 open, and 200,000 in the DAO. Call it 1.4 that are open, circulating, or held in the DAO. And then Untamed 1.5 million packs sold. And so as we look at some of those comparables where that 1.5 million range establishes, you know, historic reliability, whether you're looking at Untamed or then with Rift Watchers, I think you can begin to see more price stability. Rift Watcher pricing has been quite strong. If we went to the marketplace, you would see that. If there's 1.5 million packs to 2 million packs that move, I think we have a reasonable argument towards scarcity for that set. And some of these key Rebellion or Rift Watcher cards are still highly priced. You know, several dollars per single BCX. And while I think there's room to fall between, if this is established as a reasonable parameter of success for a recent and currently modern accessible deck, then I think we can see something about where Rebellion will be. I'm saying Rift Watchers represents a similar set of cards, and arguably Rebellion are better. So if Rift Watchers have held value, and if they have sold in similar units, I think the scarcity argument points us to something meaningful for the price valuations on what Rebellion is capable of doing moving forward over the next 6 to 12 months. I think we see there's adequate scarcity. I think we see that when there's that 1.5 million packs sale, there's a reasonable amount of buy pressure versus supply, and those cards, generally speaking, hold value. Looking at Untamed, looking at Rift Watchers, and then speculating forward with Rebellion. The second piece, utility. This set is powerful. These Rebellion cards are particularly special. They are equipped with tactics. They are equipped with multi-element summoners. Tactics has never before touched this game. It's a massive game-changing element to what Splinterlands has offered. And while it isn't perfect because of whether the game mechanic doesn't necessarily allow enough time, or maybe it doesn't work ideally within guild brawls or tournaments, etc., ultimately these cards have proven very successful, very powerful, very desirable. So the tactic summoners are one example of why Rebellion should hold its value, even better than something that is similarly scarce like Rift Watchers, which is itself a strong and desirable deck. Everyone talks about Lorcus. People talk about, you know, I really enjoy Arcane. I really enjoy Draft. People seem to be loving Tofu, and Cryptic is a guy I hear get a lot of love and support. These are very powerful, and they are a cornerstone for why we should be excited about Rebellion beyond the Mage Wagons, beyond the airdrop period. Not just tactics, though, is it? I said multi-element summoners. This is the first time that's happened. Presumably, these summoners are going to get stronger and stronger. There are some ability sets or game card designs that get better and better with time. And multi-element summoners should be within that category. Because right now, when they were designed, the possible pairings are perhaps exciting or not. But as more and more cards come with future and future editions, presumably these will get stronger and stronger. Granted, that advancement might lead to a place where Rebellion is itself in wild and no longer modern. But nevertheless, Zedeka, Prunda, Brewmaster, all of these different summoners that have multi-element should presumably be a cornerstone and of the desirability that comes out of Rebellion. That's two of the pieces, and there's more. The final piece that I wanted to really feature here with respect to Rebellion is the weapon training. These cards have dramatically shifted the meta of Splinterlands. In my opinion, these are, if there was one feature that has transformed the meta more than anything else, it's in the last year, it's been Weapons Trainer. Weapons Trainer has altered dramatically essentially a fourth attack type into the game. We had melee, archery, and magic. Those are 1, 2, 3, but now we have 4. The non-attacking units can be mobilized in unique and varying ways, even to receive multiple attack types, which is so exciting and powerful. It's not exactly a new type, but it's an entirely new look at an old card. And in the same way as those multi-element summoners can bring together pairings and partnerships that are radically transforming the meta or the experience within any one battle, so too can Weapons Trainer, as it brings new attack types to non-attacking units. These are 3 key reasons why Rebellion cards are unique and uniquely powerful and uniquely desirable. Tactic summoners, multi-element summoners, and Weapon Trainer cards. For these reasons, I think you can make a strong argument as to why Splinterlands Rebellion assets should carry value even after Chaos Legion leaves circulation. Apart from utility, the third key reason why I think Rebellion can carry and hold and sustain their price valuations, maybe even go up, but at least hold their values better than maybe some cards like Chaos, will be the fact that Chaos itself is moving out of the modern. As we get 6 months, 12 months down the road, we're not exactly sure on dates here because there might be a Rebellion mini set, there might not. That would affect the rest of the release dates. But if we said 12 months from now, Chaos Legion should be out of the modern. When Chaos Legion leaves the modern, that should mean ultimately that the modern set of cards radically shifts. Right now I'm looking at max level legendaries from the modern league, and a huge number of these cards are going to roll out very, very soon. 6 to 9, maybe 12 months from now. Some of these very key, important, the Fiends, that's an interesting one because we know there's a new promo card that's going to benefit from Fiends. Man, some of these cards are absolutely crucial in the current meta. Carnage Titan, Adelaide Brightwing, Queen Mycelia, Quixodevious. Yeah, the Summoners, Yasik and Astral Entity. These Lily Shieldpaw, to me, this is still actually one of the best summoners in the game, and my win data on Splintercoach reflects that. So I'm saying, with Chaos Legion moving aside, we know for a fact there's going to be a huge void within the Modern League. And while it's true that there'll be a new card issuance, a new edition released to coincide with the removal of Chaos Legion from Modern, you have to understand that those that are playing the game in that moment are, first of all, going to be reluctant to go deep on a next edition. Yes, some of them will. Most of them won't. The next set might outshine Rebellion, and you might think, well, you have to have it if you want to succeed in Modern. Some people will think that way. Some people will go deep on the new set, the next shiny thing. But even if it's way better than Rebellion, which I find hard to believe, it's unlikely that many people will spend tens of thousands of dollars on the next set, at least not initially. Some will, most won't, but at least most won't immediately. It'll take time to grow that exposure and grow that interest. Therefore, the footprint that is felt from within the Modern League from Rebellion will remain impactful, significant, compelling to game players. It'll probably be the cheaper pack because you'll probably be getting $2 or $3 Rebellion packs, or you'll be spending $5 with Splinterlands to get whatever the modern thing is. So it should be the cheaper entry point. It's probably powerful, and also, you know, in the medium to long term, it's going to have impact within the modern still. Now, eventually it will roll out, and you could make an argument that long term that'll impact the price point on Rebellion. I'm talking in the next 6 to 9, maybe 12 months. Again, stability across that medium time range because of its scarcity, utility, and because Chaos Legion leaving. Number 4, economic factors at play. Now let's look at the bigger picture. With the U.S. Federal Reserve announcing that they plan to lower interest rates in September, and in fact, people believing that there'll be lower and lower rates moving forward, maybe in my mind, we make it to return to zero in the not too distant future. We should see easier, more accommodating banks that are willing to lend bigger sums. We should see people being able to and being willing to borrow bigger sums. This should impact a wide variety of things because easy money chases after goods that are limited in nature, driving housing speculation as well as market speculation. And ultimately, if you're looking at housing, equities, or cryptocurrency, this probably has a positive ramification upon it. Unless the economy melts down, loose money should drive prices higher. And for those reasons, I would imagine that Splinterlands has an access point in the next 3 to 9 months where we should see greater interest in speculative investment, not less. I would expect that while Splinterlands won't directly benefit from much of the big money, I would think that there would be a trickle down effect, or, you know, people say a rising tide lifts all boats. If there's a general economic boom within cryptocurrency broadly that touches the altcoin market, I would expect Splinterlands and SPS to touch on that benefit. And then it's really interesting to note, and we always got to come back to this fact, if there is even a minor rise in SPS price, meaning it goes from like 0.7 of a penny to 1.5 cents, the rewards earned for play are dramatically increased, which drive incentives from the player base to invest more to chase after those same rewards. And as that spikes, this is how life cycle within Splinterlands begins to happen, because the SPS reward rises in its US dollar valuation. People buy more cards to chase after that USD valuation. The cards go up in price, the rentals go up in price because they're all getting bought up. There's a life cycle that happens, breathing new life into SPS as well as card valuations. Some of you don't believe that there will be a life cycle. Some of you don't believe that crypto will boom again, or at least that SPS will take advantage of that boom when such a boom occurs. I hear you. I'm not here to prove you wrong. I'm simply sharing in this video, and with my confidence is growing with respect to Rebellion directly. Splinterlands generally, but Rebellion directly, because of when it's closing, how good it is, the general economic factors that are surrounding this moment, and so much more. Caveats to consider. Of course, we have to talk about caveats. Once the Rebellion set phases out, Mage Dragon's End, we might see a drop in utility. In fact, we will see a drop in utility from the cards because they're no longer functional within that context. They're no longer providing airdrops. And so some owners of Rebellion assets will want to liquidate because they were here holding them for primarily the airdrop points. While that's certainly a piece of the fullness of the picture for what Rebellion is going to endure for the next, over the next year, I absolutely, have begun to pull away from that as a cornerstone consideration for Rebellion price point. I'm beginning to feel that the 4 prior concerns or topics that I raised in this video are more powerful, impactful, relevant, especially as we look at the comparables with respect to like Untamed, or more importantly, Rift Watchers. And I think we have justification for believing that the price point will be stable or grow. And particularly if the general market conditions are growing itself. Because if card prices are spiking as SPS prices are spiking because of a general altcoin bull market, I don't think we even have to concern ourselves with lack of utility. We can potentially move away from fundamental considerations at all. I really believe this, that we could start moving towards a FOMO element where people are just driving forward, not because of logic and fundamentals, but in fact because they're chasing after green candles. That wouldn't necessarily be ideal for the game or for our community. I'm just saying I really believe that that's possible and on the table for consideration for what could transpire in the next 3 to 12 months. I'm not saying we're going to see price spikes immediately, that the ending of Mage Wagons is itself somehow positive, or that when Chaos Legion leaves Modern that everyone will turn to Rebellion. I'm just suggesting that there's a variety of trends that indicate a greater price stability at least, and maybe profitability around these assets. Maybe at least better than what we had seen in the past, particularly as we look at Chaos Legion for sure, and especially even maybe as we look at what Rift Watchers was, because this is a unique moment. I think the total number of catalysts and concerns and considerations are generally speaking more positive on the whole than they would have been with respect to any of those other additions and sets. Conclusion. To sum it all up, while I'm not advising anyone to rush out and buy Rebellion cards or Rebellion packs, I firmly believe that there are several signs pointing toward a more stable valuation for these assets over the next 6 to 12 months. Any substantial growth beyond that will rely on increased interest. Absolutely, Tails said it best. He said, the game's not going to grow if it's not fun. I think it's fun. The game's not going to grow unless we have new players coming in. I think we will get new players. I think the pathway for that is already being carved out by the team. Some of the questions that you have to ask yourself are, do you agree? Do you think this game's fun? Do you think it has a future? Do you think people are going to enjoy it? Do you think the team is going to be able to pull down some of the barriers that have been holding people back? I think the answer is yeah. I think ultimately it is. And I think the picture I described for you is generally speaking founded in logic around why Rebellion has a just and reasonable pathway towards stability, if not price growth, over the next 6 to 12 months. So what do you think? Do you see similar signs for Rebellion cards, or do you have different perspectives? Do you believe that the price points will plummet, or do you think that we're going to see growth? I think anything is possible, but the reasons I've given you here, to me, feel founded in reason and worth serious consideration. If you enjoyed today's video, don't forget to hit the like button. Thank you so much. And if you want to be present during live events when I go live once a week, check out the members page and support the channel at whatever level you want, and you'll be invited to weekly live events. All right, guys, have an amazing day. God bless. Bye for now.